it's Gina with McMinnville Parks and Recreation. Today, we are going to be practicing with a ball. So if you don't have a rhythmic gymnastics ball at home, you can use a tennis ball, especially for you kiddos with smaller hands. Tennis ball would work great because they can keep really good control of it, but this is like a follow along video with me, so I'm going to be going through many movements. As you can see, I have cones set up. If you have cones at home, go ahead and set up cones. If you don't have cones, you can use pop bottles, you could use cans, you could use books, you could use pillows, you could use just tape marks on the ground or anything that just shows where an obstacle would be for the ball movements. So we're going to go through together. So I want everyone to make a choice. I am going to move back and forth between the rhythmic gymnastics ball and a tennis ball just so you can kind of see the difference between the two. If you have a whole bunch of fun balls at home that you want to practice with, go ahead and collect those up and you can switch all the different balls as we go. So I'm going to start with this one. First one we're going to do is put the ball on top of our head. We're going to hold it with both hands and we are going to weave through the cones. So we're going to practice going in and out. So you can kind of glance down a little bit if you need to, but I really want you to try and keep that ball balanced on top of your head with your chin nice and lifted. So if you want to, you can look at the very end of the cone and practice weaving back and forth. Good job. Now we're going to take this ball down a little bit and we're going to hold it pressed against our belly with both hands in front. So it looks like that. And we're going to practice that same weaving in and out. So we're going to weave in and out. Kind of press your hands into your ball so that you don't lose it. If you do lose it, go ahead and stop and catch it and then come back to the cone that you were at. Remember when we weave, we go in and out like a snake or a worm, back and forth. All right, I'm going to switch up balls. I'm going to use this tennis ball I have over here. So I have this little one, you can see it here. We are going to practice just tapping the ball on top of each cone. So you want to make sure that you don't hit it too hard, especially if you're not using cones. If you have something a little lighter, we're going to try not to knock down the obstacle. If you have just a little piece of tape on the ground, you want to try and make it almost perfect on top of that little piece of tape. So I'm going to take my ball in my good hand. And I'm going to go along and walk next to it and tap every single cone. All right, I can bend down, use my legs. Remember, I'm not hitting it too hard. I'm not trying to knock down my cones. Good. Then when I get to the end, I'm going to put it in my other hand. So I put it in the other hand, same thing, tapping each of the top of the cones as gently as I can, not knocking over any of my cones. I don't want to have to play cleanup too early. And we're done. Good. Next one we're going to do, we're going to try and balance it in our hands like so. So both my hands are cupped together, and then I have the tennis ball on top. And I'm going to try and step over or around all of my obstacles. So my cones are pretty high, but I've got really nice long legs, so I can easily clear it. If your cones at home are a little bit higher, you can weave again if you can't step over them. If you have something small, then we'll practice 1 foot up and over. But I'm just going to kind of walk along my cones, balancing the ball in my hands, almost like I'm doing a penguin waddle, right? Or we could even do our penguin walks. Pop those toes up, holding that ball. Don't let it fall out of those hands. All right. Here comes a tricky one. I'm going to switch balls again, so if you want to switch yours, you can if you have a different one. We're going to hold the ball behind us, okay? Almost like we have a big puffy bunny tail. And we're going to try and hop along the cones, but we are not going to stop at each cone. So we're just going to go the distance of our cones. So we're going to take it with our little bunny tails, hopping with both feet at the same time. And then we turn around and we get to hop back. Good job. That one was a little bit tricky, wasn't it? All right, the next one we are going to do is actually try to balance our ball in just one hand. And we're going to pick the hand that feels the best for us. So for me, that's my right hand. I'm going to balance it. I'm going to use my other hand to kind of make sure it doesn't fall off, okay? And what we're going to do is weave through the cones again, because we can always practice weaving. That's something that we always try to practice a lot in class, so we always remember it. So I'm balancing it on my one hand. My other hand is here to kind of guard it so it doesn't fall. I'm going nice and slow. I don't want to go too fast. If I go too fast, my ball starts to wiggle. Don't want my ball to wiggle off my hand, okay? If you're feeling super adventurous, you can switch hands and use your other hand to guard it. If not, you can keep it in your good hand. back and forth. Good job. All right, I have one more for you. What we're gonna do is try to bounce the ball in between each of the cones. This is going to be little, and I'm actually gonna go down onto my knees so that you guys can see how small I want it to be. Okay, so I'm right here in between. I'm gonna push the ball down and try to catch it, right? And I'm here, push the ball down and catch it. I'm gonna grab my tennis ball and show you with a smaller ball too, because I know not all of you have a ball maybe that bounces super well, okay? I take it and I bounce it and catch it. Okay, I'm gonna move back to my rhythmic ball, bounce and catch. Then I'm gonna do it again, all the way back. Okay, so I'm not just letting it fall out of my hands, right? I'm pushing and catching, which means I need to keep my eyes on the ball, in between my toes, bounce and catch, and bounce and catch. All right, I hope you guys had fun. I know I did, and I hope that you can practice this all week long. Bye.